OMGs, boys, girls, in betweeners, how you doing? Red Camet here. I am mustering a lot of enthusiasm, not just because the KOLIN trailer has finally been released, it's finally confirmed. This girl's out but at 6 AM and it's goddamn early here, but there's a trailer out. If you haven't seen it, here it is. Let's go. Okay guys, that is our second DLC character for Season 2. Now let's just go through that with a fine-tooth comb, with a microscope, with a magnifying glass, and just check out some of the things that you might have missed because that trailer moved damn fast and it was a fucking awful song from Lupe Fiasco playing in the background. So let's talk about a few things. First of all, she has a new model, which I think is kind of weird. It's interesting actually, because the costume is the same as a story default costume, but her faces and hair have changed, which is, I don't know, I mean obviously Capcom have their reasons for that. I'm not sure if I really like the new face. I thought her old face was fine, but hey, look, great, new face, there you go. So people who are complaining that Capcom are lazy, maybe that's the reason for saying that they didn't have to change the character model, now have less to complain about, so that's a fun thing there. Now, we can talk about a few things that have been officially released about this character before we get into speculation regarding her moves. Now, alright, first and foremost, her V-skill is called the Inside Slash. And basically what it means is that her V-skill will act as a counter, and after absorbing a hit from her opponent, she will perform a double slash attack on the opponent, which is kind of neat. Similar to, and we've got a few characters now. We got Kuma, we got Ryu, who both have kind of counter-based V-skills, but hey, look, if you like that sort of thing, more power to you. Now, what gets more interesting is her V-trigger is called Diamond Dust del Monde. KOLIN will be able to use her V-trigger for up to 2 times, which is pretty awesome. So she has a 2-bar V-trigger, not 3, and upon activation, she will strike the ground, causing ice to jut out from the ground. While the V-trigger is capable of dealing both damage and stun, it has the unique property of freezing the opponent's stun gauge. And if the opponent's stun meter fills up completely during this stage, they'll be completely frozen in place, which I believe, will no doubt allow you to continue that combo. I think that would be probably the natural assumption there. And finally, as we saw in the trailer, she has a critical art of the Frost Tower. And it's everything you saw there. It's a big old single strike, lots of ice, impales people, looks pretty cool, and that's about it for that. So those are the official bits of tidbits of information that have been released by Capcom. So that's fun, but you know what's more fun? Let's get into speculating about the other things we saw. So a couple quick things is that first of all, her V-reversal is definitely a throw. Whether that leads to a hard knockdown or not, we didn't get to see. But that's interesting there just for people who get upset about things like Cammy's V-reversal and whatnot, not really giving you a knockdown chance to set up after for pressure. And she also very much has an air throw that we see in one of her combos. So that's pretty cool as well, because Rush is pretty limited on people who have air throws. So there's another one added to the list. Now, a quick thing that we call is something I'm calling the backhand strike. It's something we only see once in the entire trailer used on Jury. It looks like it may be a tool for extending combos or for use in combos. Doesn't really look like an ender. Can't really say much more than that about that, unfortunately. Now, for the much vaunted Ice Wreckers, this is one of the bits of leaked information we got to hear about a few days ago, and they are most definitely present here. Now, what's interesting about this is we see them several times throughout the trailer, and there's both, we get to see both the EX version and the regular version. Now, there's different stages to them. It starts out with a little jibby jab, multi-jab, goes into another hit, and then goes into a final hit afterwards. But what's interesting about that is that the EX version has some very good properties to it. First of all, we see the EX version work as a backdash before she moves in, and it can cover quite a lot of ground. We get to see almost like a half screen when it's using its Urian's Fireball, which leads to the next part, which is obviously the fact that at the very least, the EX version is invincible to projectiles. So that's going to get you in through those people who like to spam those fireballs and try to keep you out. So that is very cool. Now, the last part about that is that, well, it's actually 2 parts. First of all, it can go high or low, well, even mid or low, which is interesting because we get to see a version where she both goes straight into the jibby jabs and another one where she goes into a slide. So she obviously has options on this wrecker, which is kind of unique to her, actually. I don't think we've really seen that in a Street Fighter game before. And the last part about those wreckers in the EX version, which is probably the most interesting of all, is that the final part leads to a launcher, which will allow you to either continue the combo or go for resets, which could be very interesting if you're looking to lay down some damage or mix people up, confuse them, and just leave them wondering what the hell you're going to do next. Alright, she has an ice double jump. This is interesting, it only gets used once in the trailer very quickly when she's getting over one of Urian's fireballs. We clearly see our girl Colin drop a ball of ice underneath her foot and actually jump off of it, giving her a little bit of extra height to be able to get over one of Urian's anti-air fireballs. So how that's able to be used is going to be very interesting. I want to see how we get more utility with that, because movement with characters is something that's very important to me. I like characters who have high mobility, so this is very intriguing, I will absolutely say. And the final special move we got to see used was what I like to call the Ice Bomb, because this is another detail that was leaked a couple of days ago, that she was able to drop projectiles on the opponent. Now, when we saw that, we thought that it would be a long-range thing, but it's actually not. This is something that she tends to use very close. She can use it while she's in the air to drop down onto the opponent, or during one of the record combos, she throws an Ice Bomb up to the opponent to keep them juggled in the air. So how that's going to be used, again, very interesting. It definitely has some mix-up opportunity there, but we don't get to see the EX version or anything else like that, so it's going to be a little bit of a crapshoot, but it looks like it's a tool largely, again, for mixing up people or for using combos. It does not look like a long-range tool at all. And finally, the trailer ends with some new costumes and confirmation that the next 4 characters will all be new. So please, people asking for characters that they know and love to come back for Season 2, I would love for it to happen. I am one of you, I want returning characters, but it's not. You gotta wait for Season 3 if you want your Sagat, your Q, your Adon, or anyone else. I'm sorry, it's just not gonna happen. So, my overall thoughts for Colin from this trailer is that she definitely looks very interesting. She seems like a very dangerous anti-zoning character. She has a lot of mobility, she can go through projectiles, she can go over projectiles. So that's very, very cool, I think. And like I said, I like those characters that have that high mobility. So she's going to be a fun one, I think. She also seems to be a very aggressive character, much more than the initial leaks implied, because we get to see a lot of her just getting in, going for big damage combos, lots of mix-ups and resets in that trailer with the high, low, or at least mid-low mix-up with those wreckers. So yeah, she's definitely reminding me a lot of Cammy, and not just based on her appearance of being female and having blonde hair either, I can tell you that. But that is gonna do it for now, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this enjoyable. If you found anything that I didn't, please leave a comment below. I would love to hear from you guys. And remember, if you enjoyed, like and subscribe, because if you want more Colin, or Colleen, or whatever you pronounce it as, we're going to be playing her as soon as she drops. Launch day, we're going to be playing her on Twitch and posting those videos of just a few hours later, so there'll be more hot and sweaty Colleen action coming in very soon. I'm a terrible person, aren't I? In the meantime, kisses, hugs, and belly rubs. I will see all of you very soon.